Hey there, fellow founders. Are you looking to unlock the secrets behind rapid business growth? Join my vibrant meetup group where we dive into masterclasses on game-changing strategies every single month. We've tackled topics like building a lean marketing engine, crafting killer lead magnets, and leveraging gateway offers to sell high-ticket offers. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next one. Come share your experiences, learn from the best, and let's grow together. Sign up and be part of the next masterclass by going to events.sarahnoelblock.com. That's events.sarahnoelblock.com. Welcome to Tiny Marketing. This is Sarah Noel Block, and this is the podcast that helps B2B service businesses do more with less. Learn lean, actionable, organic marketing strategies you can implement today. No fluff, just powerful growth tactics that work. Ready to scale smarter? Hit that subscribe button and start growing your business with Tiny Marketing. Hello, welcome to episode 119 of the Tiny Marketing Show. I'm Sarah Noel Block, and today we are talking about the next phase in our service business. And that is adding a scalable offer to our business. And the easiest, lowest threshold way to do that is through a digital product. Today, I am talking to Renee Morovich, who is an expert on creating your first digital product. So stay tuned so you could be a little fly on the wall of my conversation with Renee.
Hey everyone, I'm Renee, and I help service providers create digital products, specifically their first digital product.
Yes, I'm excited.
Just short and simple.
I'm excited about this. We are bringing this as part of a scalability series. So this will be in conjunction with how does a service provider start a group program? How do you launch digital products? All of those things that we start thinking about once we hit that threshold. And we're like, well, shit, I don't have time to add any more clients and I'm kind of at a ceiling on what I can make. So this is an awesome way to dip your toe into that scalability. So
yeah, I love that. And I love go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I like the small, literally dip your toe and not dive off the deep end sort of thing. Let's just do something small and see kind of how it works.
Yeah, let's test the waters on that. Speaking of test the waters, can you just give some examples of what you would consider digital products?
Yeah, this is a very common question that I didn't think of when I had first gotten started. But I think of excuse me, toolkits, workbooks, guides, maybe an ebook, something that's very small, a workbook if you want, something that is kind of like a step above a lead magnet, but something that really focuses on one thing. It isn't just, 57 videos and 27 different modules, no, much, much smaller than that.
That is exactly why I asked, is because of course, an on-demand course could be considered a digital product, but is that what you would consider a digital product?
Yeah, you can totally do that, but I don't recommend as your first product because it takes a really long time to create that. And if you don't know what you're doing, which you don't because you haven't done this before, then I don't think that starting with something like that is really great. Start with something smaller, see if you can get people that win, see if you know how to market it, see if you can attract people, see if you can get sales. And then once you kind of figure out, you can kind of scale from there. You can make another product, a supplement to it, you can make it bigger, you can add on to it, you can make your course, whatever it is. But starting small, I think is, very helpful for people because you want to see some success on the other side. And if the other side is 2 years later and tons of time invested and money, that's scarier to me. Let's find that out sooner.
It's 100% scarier. I have always, even from before Tiny Marketing existed, I sold digital products still as just me. And I always pre-sold them before I created them to see if there was even a market for them in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about pre-selling lately. I have had people on my podcast talk about that, and that's a great way. And some people like never pre-sell, and some people are like, I only pre-sell. It doesn't matter. If you want to do it, it's a great way to validate. But I think that one thing people should be aware of is if you try to pre-sale and you don't have a big audience, you might not get the validation or the results you're looking for. So if you have an audience of like 5 people and 3 of them say yes, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to sell or going to be a good product. So I think it really depends on the size of your audience and who specifically is on your list. Like if your mom and your neighbor are on your list and like, yeah, we'll buy your product, or like, no, we wouldn't buy that because they don't need it, just kind of focus on that. Like think about that before
Yeah, that
you dive in.
I touched on that a little bit before we hit record on your audience size, because when you're
Mhm.
doing digital products, anything that's scalable, you need a bigger audience for it. So, what's
Mhm.
your advice there? Is there a threshold people should be at before they start going down this path?
I think that you should at least be on the journey, right? So, like having a product and being like, I don't have any email lists, like, oh, it's going to be harder. You can still borrow other people's audiences, and there are things that you can do, affiliates and whatever. But I think you should have an idea before you dive into it. Like, thinking of an idea for a product and building the product is great, but knowing how you're going to market it is also good. So, maybe you have already started that email list and maybe you put out free content and you have a lead magnet. Those are all good things to be building the audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that that is helpful.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm a marketer, but I am like, build the audience first. You
Yes.
need the plan to be able to sell. You need to know how many people, if you have a goal around your revenue for this digital product,
Mhm.
you could do the math and figure out how many people you need to get in front of in order to sell to
Mhm.
that amount. And I don't know. So you talked about borrowing other people's audiences. So I just wanted to touch on one thing real quick before we get into it a little bit deeper. But like
Mhm.
Mariah Caz, Jordan Gill, those big online players, they've been talking a lot lately about how beneficial digital products are in building their audience when they're doing the borrowed audience thing. So, webinar swaps, newsletter swaps, whatever.
Mhm.
But they use digital products and they use 100% promo code in order to convert that audience to theirs because there's a value attached to it. So, they're more
Mhm.
likely to convert. So, that's another reason that it's beneficial to have that digital product. You're adding a value to that knowledge piece that you're selling. But let's talk about borrowed audiences. What, in your experience, has been a good route to go in borrowing audiences, doing partnerships,
Yeah.
collaborations?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the product, like whatever industry you're in, finding people who are in similar industries, so that, they don't offer this product or service, but it works nicely with your product or service. So, really just, it's kind of like networking. It's like looking around for people, seeing who might fit, listening to podcasts, but it could be anything from guesting on podcasts, like you said, newsletter swaps, bundles are something that people participate in. There's really like a lot of opportunities out there. And I think that it's kind of distilling it down and figuring out what would be best for you and your audience. If you're not a video person or you are an audio person or you love writing, even people still do blog post swaps, like guest blog posts. I think we think like, oh, blogging is dead. It's not. It's still out there. So really, I think look around and see what might work for you and what people in your industry are doing or related industries.
Yeah. Someone was asking me the other day, why don't you ever name any of the blogs that you manage a blog? I'm like, it sounds like 2015. Yes, people are still reading content. I'm a reader. Like,
Hmm.
if there's a video and a blog,
Yeah.
I'll read the blog any day over the
Hmm.
video.
Right.
But blog just sounds so old school. I want to read a guide. I want to read um like your
Yes.
article based, your content based.
Mhm. Well, we were talking actually about, what are some examples, toolkits, whatever. I said ebooks, and I kind of felt that way too. Like, oh, ebook sounds old, but really, like, it's just, a collection of written information in a specific form, in a form that you can read on your Kindle or your e-reader. I think people still do that. So,
I
but
do.
yeah, I know what you mean about the things, the things sounding older. It's like webmaster. Webmaster used to be a thing. Nobody calls it that anymore.
No. Yes,
Yeah.
all these things still exist. They're not dead. It's just
Hmm.
different naming conventions now.
Hmm. For sure.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about you specialize in working with people on creating their first digital product. So, what is your thought on taking something that you have already created that you use and trying to figure out how to make that a digital product, like the templates that you've created?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great place to start. I have a lead magnet that talks about like how to find an idea for a product. You're like, okay, I'm at this point, I'm a service provider, I'm full up on clients. I can't take any more clients, or I don't want to, but I do want to kind of try to diversify my income, maybe try to serve people that can't afford to work with me or whatever it is. And, that's a great place to look at what you've already created instead of starting from scratch. So I think it's a great place to look in the things that you've already created for yourself, already created for clients, because you don't want to start from scratch. You don't want to open a Google Doc with just, big white screen and be like, okay, digital product, go. Like that, nobody can do that. So look at the things that you have already created. And yeah, I've had some people on my podcast talk about this too, where they had something actually that they gave away for free and it wasn't doing really well. And so they kind of polished it up, right? They put a video in front of it, a little how to, some more marketing, like why use this? Who is this for? And really in the polishing, it became the product. So I think it's a great idea to look through your Dropbox or your Google Drive or wherever you keep your files and see like, okay, well, what have I created? And maybe it's not just one thing, maybe it's a couple things that kind of morph into one thing. So yeah, don't start from scratch.
Yeah, I am a big fan of bundles. Every digital product I've created is a bundle. It's like the templates that I
Hmm.
used, a video to show you how I use it. It's whatever's working for
Hmm.
me at something that I do, and I just put it together with a video so you know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, things that have worked for your clients, if you're going that route, like things that have worked for you, great, but also things that have worked for your clients, if you've gotten some feedback on that, like, oh, this was really helpful, or oh, I didn't know that, I didn't know I needed to know that, like that is all great information. Anything that you're getting feedback on that is working, in addition to looking at what you've already created, I think is a good place to start. Yeah, don't start from scratch.
Yeah, that's a good point. So combing through like your sales call transcripts and seeing what
Hmm.
were people asking for, or
Hmm.
if you do like I do delivery day calls where the day I'm delivering whatever the thing is that I'm doing for them, I have a call with them, and usually something will come up like, well, do you have a template for this? So I'd be able to implement this on my own or whatever. And that's like perfect, perfect digital product fodder. Hey there, amazing founders. Ready to take your business to the next level? Join our Gateway Offer Challenge and watch your sales soar. In this challenge, you'll get mini Gateway Offer trainings to perfect your offers. Learn how to structure your documentation so it sells for you. Create buzz around your offer and identify eager clients with our sales training. Plus, get exclusive outreach templates that take the guesswork out of prospecting. And because selling should be fun, we've gamified this challenge. Who can sell the most gateway offers? And let's not forget, you'll also learn how to effortlessly upsell to your signature offer. Ready to level up? Join the Gateway Offer Challenge today. Your business will thank you. Go to challenge.sarahnoelblock.com. That is CHALLENGE.SARAHNOELBLOCK.com.
Yeah, when people ask for something, and you can even look, another thing I advise is looking through your free content. So, looking at your newsletters, looking at your blog posts or your videos or your social posts. What are people gravitating towards if there's a specific topic, or if they're responding? They're replying, they're liking, they're sharing, whatever it is, however they're engaging. Look at those topics to help kind of guide you, to kind of give you a head start. Again, not from just that blank screen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that advice, you can pull that through pretty much everything in marketing. You can use micro content as a jumping off point for testing what kind of marketing is going to work for
Mhm.
you. That's how I figured out what my positioning would be. I was like, well, there's these three things that make me unique. Let's test these out and see what resonates with people.
Right.
I was like, oh, working in a small marketing department or having no marketing department,
Mhm.
that's what resonates with people. Okay. I'll lean into that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and making sure you have enough people to poll, so that the kind of the building of the audience and the polling of the audience, it kind of, it's not just like a linear thing, like, you get to X number of people and then you can ask them questions. Like, it's kind of an organic sort of thing. Like, as you're building it and as you're asking questions, you're modifying and you're tweaking and you're kind of changing your, not changing your messaging, but honing in on your messaging, and then starting to create those things that people want. So it's, you'd asked before about like a specific number. I don't think it's any specific number. I think it's, depending on how engaged your audience is, and really like where you feel comfortable. And some people feel comfortable launching something earlier just to kind of test it out. I've talked about this with people before about emailing. Some people think that, like, as you're building your email list, you have to build it to a certain number of people before you send emails. And I don't think that's a great idea. I
No.
think that you should be sending emails to those 5 people
Yeah.
that are just on your list, because that's how you practice and that's how you find your voice and that's how you get into a routine, so that when you have 100 people, 500 people, 3,000 people, then you're good at it. You're not like, okay, 3,000 people, this is my first email to you. It's going to be terrible. So,
Agree.
be doing it all along.
Well, and then your list is so cold by the time you finally email them.
That too. Hmm.
I promise you, you will get a ton of
Hmm.
unsubscribes if you do that.
Hmm. Exactly. They're like, who is this
Yeah,
person? We signed up for it 4 years ago and we
right?
have no idea who you are. And this isn't relevant for me anymore. So, yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Okay. Let me see. What are we missing here? Hmm. Okay, let's talk about how to pick the audience that you want to sell to.
Hmm. This is tough. So I have a couple different audiences that I recommend people sell to as service providers. So you can create something and sell something to people that you don't know and have no contact with or no audience build. I don't recommend that. That's harder because you have to like find those people. So people that you may already be in touch with could be your peers. So if you've been doing this for a long time, maybe you have a nice network set up of peers, maybe you go to industry conferences or something like that, and that could be one group of people to sell to because you are established, you've kind of worked out all of the kinks, you know how everything works well for you, the software you use and your processes, and you've kind of honed it over time. So that could be one place to start. Even you could throw some affiliate marketing into that too. Like, I use this software, buy my, welcome kit bundle that I give to my clients, and, sign up for a free trial of my email marketing software. So your peers, I think, is one group of people that you could sell to. If you're looking to increase your audience, I guess, in your service, you could sell to people who are not ready to work with you yet, or maybe can't afford you. So people maybe early on in their journey. And I think this is a really powerful audience because you stay in touch with them, and as they grow, they may want to work with you one-on-one later. It's a really long, what do we call it? Long sales cycle, I suppose. Yeah, long journey, like just a long, it could be a long time. And maybe those people don't work with you, but it gives you an opportunity to share your knowledge with people without that one-on-one time commitment. So if you build something and 10 people buy it, just throwing numbers out there, 10 people buy it, you've helped 10 people that you didn't have to sit with one-on-one and explain, each time. So that's kind of like the DIY crowd. And the last crowd I would think of would be people who are almost ready to work with you, but wouldn't it be great if they were just a little bit more ready? So one example I give is, for web designers, creating something where people can create their web content and then come to you with their content ready. Like that's like a web designer's dream, is someone who has their content ready.
That
So yeah.
I just want to touch on that real quick. That's so brilliant because it's also the first stage of what they would need to do already to work with you.
Yes.
So it's like
Hmm.
prepping them to work with you. I love that
Yes.
idea.
Yeah. So they get some value in, a lower price product where they can be guided through that creation process. And then they come to you and they've gotten value out of that. So they're ready then to work with you. They're like, okay, I got so much great value from Sarah. I know I want to work with her one on one, and I'm even more ready than I would have been otherwise. So it's kind of like a I don't want to say it's like a strange audience. I think maybe some people don't think of that. But I love that kind of thing.
I
Like you're
love
just kind of prepping people, and you don't need a ton of sales in that case. So you don't need to sell, 500 copies of your workbook. If you sold a couple, it's basically like a paid lead magnet
Yeah.
in that case.
That's
So it's not so
smart.
much like the sales from the product that are really like the income, but it's, you're kind of pulling people in to working with you one on one, being more prepared. And then, you're charging that higher rate with your service. So I like that group.
Yeah, it's a gateway offer. It pulls
Hmm.
people in, prepares them to work with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. There's another group of people that I really haven't talked about much. This came up recently and I was thinking about recording something about it. But for the service provider who is a local service provider, so they provide their service only in a specific geographic region. We think service providers, a lot of times we think, marketing, web development, copywriting, things like that, where you can kind of do it from anywhere.
Mhm.
But a local service provider, for example, like a photographer, like a makeup artist, something like that, where, you're together in the same room providing that service, for them to be able to create digital products and expand their customer base basically without, leaving that geographic area. So that's kind of another audience I've been thinking about, but haven't really kind of fleshed that out yet.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. That would also, like, if you were to do that, they would also be probably good partnerships because they have connections to other people that are within that community that would also want to buy that
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. So, price points, what do those look like for digital products?
I think it really varies. A couple just kind of broad stroke things to say about price points. I think with, a first product, if it is something that is smaller, keeping that cost lower, but not too low. Some people will be like, I'm going to sell this for $7, which is fine, but you have to think about that perceived value. So if somebody is with a lead magnet, for example, getting something for free, oftentimes we sign up for it and then we never get around to it, but we don't feel bad about it because we didn't pay anything for it. So it could be the same for a digital product. So I like to advise that you just talk to somebody, just talk to a couple colleagues. I bet they will tell you to increase the price. You can always do a sale if you want to, or a bundle. If you have more than one product, you can bundle them together for a certain cost. Like there's a lot of things I think you can do with the pricing. I just don't love those like really, really, really low price products because I think the perceived value is a little bit, kind of wacky, if that
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
would say the majority of the digital products I run across are between like 27 and maybe 197. Everybody loves the
Mhm.
sevens, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what is it with that? Yes.
yeah, somewhere between 20 and 200 is where
Mhm,
like digital products usually land depending on how robust they are. Like one that
mhm,
is $200 is probably fairly robust, a whole bundle of things. But
mhm,
you might get templates for $30.
mhm. Yeah, and I think that you can also have that product, but you could have 2 or 3 levels where, without you at all is X price, but the product plus like a half an hour with you could be Y price. And so it's not any, I don't say additional work. You're being compensated for your work that one-on-one time. However, it just gives people another option. And I think I'm seeing people want a little bit more accountability. They maybe don't have the time or the attention span to just kind of buy something and go through it all on their own. But if they know they have a call with you, or some sort of office hours, or group YouTube live, or whatever it is, they may be more likely to purchase that and to show up and to consume, because really I think we want people to consume the product, not just buy it.
Yeah.
Because if they buy it and don't consume it, then like you're not getting that word of mouth. You're not getting a repeat customer when you have new products or anything. You just got that sale. But when people are consuming it, you're getting feedback, you're getting testimonials, even constructive criticism, to make your product better. You're getting a lot more from that when people are going through your product and consuming it. So I think it's good to focus on that if you can, trying to help people get through and learn from your product.
That would play really well with using it as a gateway offer too, because you're building trust with that person. You get that know, like, trust factor because they're actually experiencing what it's like to work with you. And that would lead them to the bigger offer.
Yeah. Yeah. So that like just small, like, half-hour call or whatever it is, to help you go through that workbook that you just bought. They get to see you and kind of experience working with you. And I do feel like that. I feel like when we can kind of show more of ourselves, people are attracted to that. And they're like, okay, yes, she knows what she's talking about. I definitely want to work with her in the future and stay on her email list and continue to, follow her on social media and engage. And that helps you build that audience, right? Like you're drawing people in, to your orbit.
Well, that's a great way to put it, because I always make it super awkward. And I talk about my content ecosystem as like a little bit tighter of a hug every single
Yes. Yeah.
like we're shaking hands when you purchase the digital product, but then we get on a one-on-one call.
Yeah, for
little
sure.
Cuddle.
Definitely.
Yes. A little closer.
I love that. Oh, for
But
sure.
you made it sound less creepy, so good for you.
I don't know where I got that from, but it's just something, that kind of sticks in my mind.
Yes. You had one more thing on your list of touch points. Time management when it comes to creating the product and the marketing plan around it. So walk me through that. What would it look like? What would creating your marketing plan around it look like first, and how do you fit it in?
I think even before that, I think what happens is people are like, I'm going to create a product. And then I'm going to start to work on it. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on it. And then client work comes in, and family and other obligations. And so you just like, it goes further and further down the list. And I think that we just don't get around to it. So I think there are a lot of people out there who have half started digital products, but never launched. So I think that figuring out how to set aside the time, like what works for you, what is going to work for you in terms of time. Like, do you always block off, or can you block off an hour or 2 hours, maybe on a certain day of the week? I like to do this earlier in the week because I find that when I do something on Mondays, I'm really proud of myself. And then all week, I'm like so proud of myself. I'm like, oh, I got that done on Monday. I rule. And I don't have to do it again until next Monday. So that's something I like to do. I know not everybody can do that, but I feel like earlier in the week, earlier in the day, earlier in the month, whatever it is, if you can knock something out, I think you'll feel good about it. And then you'll want to keep going because you do feel good. But also chunking it down into manageable tasks. So a task, create digital product, like that's not a task. Like you're never going to check that off. I mean, you're going to check it off like one day far, far, far in the future, but you have to create things that you can check off your list. So at the end of that 30 minutes, hour, 2 hour block, whatever you've set aside, that you can check something off that you're done with it. So I think that those are kind of important concepts for being able to see that you have made progress and want to continue to make progress, because otherwise I think it's kind of demoralizing. You're like, oh, I worked for 3 hours. I don't know what I did. I don't know how much further I have to go. Like, I just think that it's really difficult. So chunking that down. And I kind of have like a sort of 5-step kind of thing. 5 steps and then another 5 steps. I don't know. I'm working on the details, but figuring out who your audience is. what win you're getting for them. What does this project or product actually look like? How long do you think it's going to create? So kind of doing this pre-work and this planning. I know some people don't like planning, but I think it's really important because once you
Waste
create the
time.
plan, you just follow the plan. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't even have to worry. What am I do today? Oh, the next thing on the list. So once you get that product created, whether it's a video or a workbook or whatever, getting some kind of feedback around it, showing it to people maybe in exchange for a testimonial. And while it's out there, kind of, and people are looking it over, creating all of that stuff around it. Like, what's the title of this product? Some people do that first. I'm not one of those people. I like to, it's like when I write an email, I don't write the subject first, I write the subject last.
I do too.
So however you do, yeah, just like, I don't know what this email is about until it has come out. So I
need
don't know what the
to
best
this
subject
email
is.
first before I name it.
Exactly. Yes. I'm in awe of people that can do it a different way. But, so what is the price point that you have decided on? You don't have to decide on that until you've created the product. And then what are some things you want to say about this product? What, your launch marketing and then your ongoing marketing. So your launch marketing are, your social posts, your emails, and hopefully you've been talking about it all along, but the very specific, like, it is here, get your discount or get your early adopter or whatever it is. But then also, taking some time to like, okay, I did this. How did it go? How did I feel about that? Did I like this? Did I not like this? Did I do this for the right reasons? And then thinking about how you're going to continue to talk about it. Because if you launch something on a Monday, a certain number of people, you're going to meet somebody new on Tuesday and on Wednesday and on Thursday. And if you never talk about that product again, those people aren't going to know about it. So how can you continue to talk about it? Will it be in your emails? Will it be in your social posts? Will you be guesting on podcasts? Will you be participating in bundles, email swaps, whatever those things are that you think might be good for you? If you're like, I don't do podcasts, don't put podcast guesting, as an avenue for promoting yourself and your product and problem awareness. So just kind of thinking about what might be doable for you in the future. I think people just leave that part out. They're like, oh, launch done. Yay,
Yeah,
over.
that's me. I have launched plenty of
It's everybody.
and they sold really well. And then I was like, well, the exciting part's over. And
Yes, exactly.
But I
think it's so important because you created it. So, to keep talking about it. And you have to talk about it all the time, every day. But, to kind of keep it in a regular rotation, I think is good. Because then I think it's also exciting to see any sale. So to see a sale, on a random Thursday or whatever, I think is exciting.
Yeah. Putting it in the calendar so it's reoccurring and you remember to do it. And I think it would be, even if you're like me and you get excited about the launch and then you're like, nah, after that, having it as part of your ecosystem, your offer ecosystem, would make it so much easier, because then it becomes a gateway offer to the next one. There's a lot more motivation when you're like, okay, well, this can turn into a high ticket sale. It just starts here.
Yeah. I like your emails too, because you have like at the bottom, like, ways to work with me. Like, here are the things that you can do, and, different price points, different options for people. And I love that it's just another option, another way to have people work with you is a digital product. Like, here it is. I've created it. If this sounds good to you, and you kind of tell them about it. And, hopefully you've done enough prep work that, it solves an important problem. The person that has that problem. I think it just kind of works together.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like that. And I think that email signatures are an undervalued sales mechanism. Oh my gosh. I have gotten a lot of traction from adding calls to action as a PS in my signatures in both my email that is just like one-to-one and my email marketing.
Yes, that's important to note too, not just in your email marketing system, but also in your regular email signature. And it doesn't have to be as robust, I feel like, in your regular signature. And you can do different things with like new emails versus replies.
Yeah.
But don't forget that.
Yes, I have different calls to action based off of that, or who I'm talking to. I might switch it out. And it's such a passive way of reminding
Mhm.
people that you have this offer available to them.
Mhm. And those are reusable like blocks, right? So you write 3 different signatures one time, and then yes, as you're sending an email, you decide, okay, use this signature.
Yeah.
So you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. And the same thing whenever you're sharing about your product, you don't have to like, okay, what am I going to say about the product this week? You can have like a content bank or something to pull from that you share. And as you get sales and hopefully you're asking for feedback, asking for testimonials, those are great to use in your marketing as well. So like it's being done for you, just use it.
Yeah. I have a content bank that I always pull from whenever it's any sales oriented thing. Objections are a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
FAQs, transformations, customer stories. If you end up
Mm-hmm.
doing the one-to-one calls as an add-on for your digital product, then you have personal stories and things that they've said that you can
Mm-hmm.
pull into your content. Everything can be
Yeah.
content.
Exactly. Record those calls too, so that you can go through and kind of, pull out some great quotes or, even with their permission, I guess you could pull out a short video snippet. Like, yeah, definitely don't let their words go to waste because it's really hard, I think, for us to think of, and maybe not so hard, but maybe we can think of like, oh, you need this product because X. But when other people say it, they have a different point of view, they have different experience. And I think that it can resonate because when somebody else says it, then another person can say, oh, I feel that way too. Which is a little bit different from somebody saying something who's selling the product. So
Yeah.
I just think it's powerful.
It's more real because it's someone who actually used it.
Yes. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, again, going back to like you want people to use the product, you want people to have success with it. It's not just about the sale.
yeah. And when it comes down to it, the more people who are having success with it, the more user generated content you're going to get, the more they're going to
Mm,
talk about it online.
yes. Yeah. Yay. Even better.
Yes. Okay.
I
Can
love that.
you tell everyone how they can work with you and tell them about your podcast? I'm a listener, by the way. I follow on Spotify.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So I have a podcast. It's called Your First Digital Product. I know, very original name. And I have a couple different types of episodes at this point. Some are solo episodes, some are interviews with people who have digital products and the story on how they launched them and all the things that have come up, successes, failures. And that lately I've been having some episodes with people who are just there to talk about something, to talk about marketing, to talk about social media. I have one coming out tomorrow at the time of this recording that is about courses. I'm not a huge proponent of courses as a first product, but mini courses you could apply this to. And she has some just really great tips on how to make sure that your course is successful. So I love talking to people just kind of about all things. So it's yfdp.show, and you can find it in all the places, Apple, Spotify, wherever. So that's the podcast. My website is scenicroutedigital.com. And if you go to scenicroutedigital.com/tiny, I have some resources that I will share with your audience based on the things that we have talked about today. I offer a one-on-one service, basically just helping you get your product launched. So I think that people can run into some issues. They just need somebody to talk to. They need somebody to help them put that plan together. We're great at putting plans together for our clients.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ourselves, we're like, wait, what do we
I
do? And so
know.
I think just having somebody to talk to and like, what platform should I use? And can you test this for me? And just basically things like that. So I work with people one-on-one. I don't have any digital products related to this yet. I know we're getting kind of meta, but because I'm building my audience and kind of trying to practice what I preach, hoping that as I talk to my audience more, they will let me know what they want to know about digital products. So again, kind of meta, but that's kind of the offering right now.
Well, awesome. All right, guys. Those links will be in the show notes page. So you can check her out and figure out what your first digital product should be. Thank you for joining me. LinkedIn is your social media
I
choice.
have
Is that right?
I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, YouTube. I have the podcast on YouTube. I'm in the places. I can give you links.
All the places. It'll be in the show notes. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me in this episode all about creating your first digital product. I hope you got some cool ideas and realize it's not that hard. You can take some of the things that already exist within your business ecosystem and you can turn it into a digital product to find a scalable, new, slightly more passive way to create income. So yay for that. If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow Renee for one on LinkedIn. And for two, subscribe, like, and comment on this episode wherever you're watching or listening to it. I appreciate you. And I'm so grateful that you choose to spend your weeks with me listening to my little voice chirping in your ear. I will see you next time for episode 120. All right, bye. You love all things tiny marketing, head down to the show notes page and sign up for the wait list to join the Tiny Marketing Club, where you get to work one-on-one with me with trainings, feedback, and pop-up coaching that will help you scale your marketing as a B2B service business. So I'll see you over in the club.